Hi, I'm Leroy Chiao,
And I'm Jamie Sunkel.
and we're here to provide another One Orbit leadership moment.
All right, so we've been just fascinated with what's going on with United Airlines. So I know that everyone has seen the story, and they've seen the gentleman being drugged off of a United Airlines flight. And from the leadership perspective, I wanted to have Dr. Chow weigh in on his experiences, not only working in the leadership in NASA, he's also been the CEO of several different companies, and has been at that pointy end of the sword to make these types of tough decisions on what to do when things go really, really bad for your company. So, Dr. Chow, I'm going to have you weigh in and see what your thoughts are, and we'll go from there.
Right. So both Jamie and I fly United. We fly United a lot. And I have to say, first of all, Oscar Munoz, the CEO of United, has been doing a great job. He's been a superb leader. He's really turned that airline around from a customer service standpoint. I can't tell you how much happier I am with United since he took over the helm. Now, the two lessons here. You're doing a great job, but you can always mess up, okay? So Oscar Munoz's first response to this was a little bit officious, and nobody likes that, okay? Number one, nobody likes an officious response, okay? Talking about policy, talking about, procedure and all those things. And so that actually made the problem worse. Now, the second thing is, he said, okay, we followed the process. Our people followed the process. And an important lesson here is the process is not always the best course of action, okay? This was drilled into us over and over at NASA in training in the simulator, where if you just had a problem and you blindly followed the process, you would quickly have the situation deteriorate into a bad day, a really bad day. And that's what happened here. So the point is, even though you have a procedure, you have to give your people, and the culture has to allow people on the point to make certain decisions. For example, in this case, if they had offered more money for a volunteer, I bet at some point you would have gotten a volunteer to get off that airplane, or 4 volunteers to get off that airplane. Yes, it's 2020 in hindsight, but this is why we're here, to kind of dissect things and figure out what are the good things or good lessons learned out of this unfortunate incident.
Well, and I think that also tells us the other power of social media, that we can no longer dismiss this as just being, that doesn't really have that much influence, and we have these late adopters, and I mean, so many people in the past have said, well, I'm never going to join social media, I'm not going to have a Facebook account. I don't know, Leroy, did you ever say that in your time? Did you ever dismiss?
No, actually, I was the first astronaut to join both Facebook and Twitter. And a friend of mine who kind of saw things coming said, hey, you need to get on these things. I'm like, what are they? And at the time, my kids were really little. And, I decided partially to get on because I didn't want to get left behind. I wanted to see what they were going to grow up into, what world they were going to grow up into, and not be, unable to understand it.
And what's your Twitter handle?
Oh, Astro Dude, my Twitter handle, and Leroy Chiao, of course, on Facebook, Commander Leroy Chiao. So yeah, and you're on as well, right?
Oh, right. You can find me, of course, Jamie Sunkel, and then our One Orbit account. But that really, we were just blown away by what the latest figure was. The video, the United video, over 800 million times viewed in China alone. And that's just such a powerful impact. And we know that financially United is going to recover. But can you talk a little bit about how do you recover from how does your company culture recover?
Right. So the day after this incident, United stock dropped over 4%. In fact, that's over $1 billion in market cap. Now, it's bounced back. It has bounced pretty much back. But they're suffering from this longer-term backlash, this PR disaster that Jamie was talking about, especially on social media. Now, Oscar Munoz has done the right thing. He's come out and he has been totally contrite. He said, this was awful. I was horrified. This will not happen again on a United flight. And we're reviewing our procedures and our processes. Those are all the right things to do. But again, the important thing, and I hope he does this, and he probably will, he's got to empower those on the front lines to make certain decisions. Maybe you have this cap of how much money you can offer, but maybe you let them go past that in certain cases, okay? I mean, this was an unusual situation. The last flight of the day, they had some crew members that needed to get somewhere. You know what? You offer enough financial incentive, somebody's going to take it.
And one more question for you is, when you were a NASA astronaut, did you ever have to take control and make a decision without mission control, or kind of?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some things are happening so quickly that you do need to take control and make decisions. And we were empowered to do that. We didn't have to check with mission control on every little thing during dynamic phases of flight. And so, when emergencies happen, as did happen sometimes, we were able to take command of that situation and do the right thing.
And transitioning into the culture, would you say that this situation, it was kind of an emergency situation when it comes to decision making, on the ground and on the
Oh, absolutely. You can see on the video how quickly it deteriorated. We didn't see the conversation that the gate agent had with the customer, but then suddenly, in an instant, it seems like security's on board and they're physically manhandling this guy, which was the absolute wrong thing to do.
Awesome. Well, one final question for our company. Are we going to fly United again for one orbit?
Absolutely. I'm going to be flying United again in a couple of days. They will recover from this, but this was an important lesson to be learned.
All right. Well, we're going to continue with our one orbit leadership moments along the way when we see these major things that are happening all over the world. We just want to have the opportunity to weigh in, and we want to connect with our friends and our audience. And I hope that that people will enjoy our little leadership tips, and hope to see you soon. Take care.
See you, everyone.